לכל אחד מגיע הגילטי פלז'ר הקטן שלו. כן, היום אני ממליצה לכם לעשות מה שהשכנות שלי ואני עושות כל שנה. צפייה משותפת בתחרות הזמר של היוניברסום.
Welcome to Universal!
Yes!
מה זה אמור להביע? זה בכלל בעברית הדבר הזה?
שתקי אנטישמית.
ראית את כל המדינות שמשתתפות?
סתם, היה לי מצב רוח טוב בבוקר.
מותק, את בסדר?
הוא לא יחזור הביתה. זה לא אמור לקרות לך שאת מכוערת וזקנה? אני מכוערת וזקנה?
גם אם זה כואב כרגע, גם אם זה יכאב. לאט, לאט, אנס, בסוף הכל יסתכל.
בוא'נה, זה שיר טוב. של מי זה?
היה לה איזה עניין, מצאנו את עצמנו כל השכנים מנסים לעשות לה קצת שמח.
תשמע, זה ממש טוב.
אתה צוחק עליי?
לא, אני רציני. חבל שלא התעוררתם קודם.
מה?
ביוניברסונג.
להקת ענת תופעה שמורכבת מ5 נשים וגבר אחד תייצג אותנו בתחרות היוניברסונג, שתתקיים השנה בפריז, עם השיר בסוף יסתדר לה.
בנות, זה הפתעה? אני נשבע לכם, זאת הייתה בדיחה.
אתה תכתוב מכתב יפה ותסביר שנפלה טעות מצערת
ואני אתחבא איזה שבועיים בבית עד שיפסיקו להסתלבט עליי בעבודה.
זאת הזדמנות של once in a lifetime.
התשובה היא לא.
בידוד זה לא צחוק.
אנחנו צריכים להבין את האנשים הכי טובים בשוק.
אבל נראה לי שאתם חבורה מקסימה. חבל שאין לנו ערבייה.
Paul, a question or two as well, okay? But first of all, I wanted to ask you, Eytan, about the origins of the movie and your love of Eurovision, because I believe that you are a bit of a Eurovision freak as well.
Yes. And this film has a lot of, you know, if some of you do know some of my previous films, they're very different. I mean, I've contributed my share to very serious political, social, issue-oriented films. And so I'm happy that I'm showing you this side of me and of Israel. And so, and Eurovision, just like my serious films, is part of my life. I was thinking about Ireland when I came here and I said, what comes to mind immediately? So I said, okay, James Joyce, and then Johnny Logan. So I said, and that combination, which is very strange, of course, some people will say, how can you put these two men in the same category and so on and so on. But I think that's what's wonderful about many of us, that we can do that. We can say, we do like very sophisticated high culture, and we appreciate it in music and in other, spheres, but we also can enjoy Eurovision, a fun, pop, sweet, sometimes sentimental, heartwarming songs. So that's what I like about Eurovision. I used to like a lot. And I had a few experiences with Eurovision. This might be a long answer. I was just in Taiwan for the opening of the film. They don't know anything about Eurovision. And I got so excited. I took my iPad and I started showing them, like in the middle of a press conference, showing them songs. You don't know this, you don't know that. Everyone was looking at me like I kind of lost it, but that was a thing I did. I remember really my most important experience, of course, as a gay man, was when Dana International won the Eurovision. You remember that?
I was there.
You were there, okay. So that was a very important experience for the gay community in Israel. I think not only, personally I think that in Israel, the straight society, the heterosexual society, and especially heterosexual men have gained so much from the gay revolution or, whatever. Even you know, because Israel was such a macho, closed-up society, and when this started happening, so, you know, straight men could say, we want to, you know, let our hair down, you know, and dance in the streets as well. Doesn't matter, you know, that we were brought up to be soldiers or whatever, you know. So that was, okay. So how did I get there? Help me.
I'm not actually sure.
But
I can ask you a question actually about that. Can Eurovision be a catalyst for social change? Because that's actually very interesting what you said about straight men in Israel and how Dana winning and sort of opening up a little bit.
What happened when Dana won? Okay, first of all, Israel is a very nationalistic country. You know, and it doesn't matter what it is, Eurovision, Olympics, politics, you know, we have to be very, you know, we have to win. That's, you know, it's really about winning. And when Israel decided to send Dana international, that was for a religious, conservative country to send a transsexual. That was kind of, everyone was, how can you do that, and so on and so on. And the members of parliament who are religious were saying, this is terrible, we have to, you know, fight this, and so on and so on. When she won, you know, everyone was so like, she came to the parliament, and those members of parliament shook her hand, and it was, you won for Israel, who cares, you brought honor for Israel, we don't care what you are.
all of a sudden it works.
Okay,
it works.
Okay, yeah. And for me, you know, and for my friends, you know, when Dana International won for Israel, we went to the streets and we danced, and the same night was a big derby, the soccer match of Israel's most intense group. And when it won, they also went to the same square, and we were dancing together, us with our flags and them with their flags. And that was like social change to some extent, you know, because here we are celebrating together achievements, very different achievements maybe, but it was wonderful. But this story is based, okay, this is going to be a very long answer, I'm going to let other people talk afterwards. Okay, this story is based, you know, when you say Eurovision, I start getting all, you know.
Good, that's good.
Yeah, we like that.
So this story is based on a story that I personally experienced. My dear friends, Guy and Chiki, who were just these Tel Avivian journalists who had nothing to do with music or anything, decided one night when they were drunk to do like a fun thing. Let's write a Eurovision song. And that's what they did. They recorded it on a little cassette, you know, and sent it to the committee that chooses the song that will represent Israel in the Eurovision. Little did they know, sure enough, a month later, they get a message, you were chosen to represent Israel in the Eurovision Song Contest. Now, so they don't know how to sing, they don't know how to dance. They take their two girlfriends, they make a band called Ping Pong, and they go to Eurovision. And then they call me, because I'm the friend of the family, and say, you're a director, you have to come with us, you'll be our, I don't know, teacher, I don't know, whatever. And I said, okay, I can't leave these kids alone, what am I going to do? I'll go with them. And it was such a fiasco, you know. This was a very big Eurovision, 2000, I think, in Sweden. Everything went high-tech, boom. And they were the opening song, and they really couldn't sing. They couldn't sing if their life depended on it. And I'm not a teacher of singing. I could teach them how to move a bit and what to wear and the style and stuff like that. And it was, they like lost for the last, they came in last. Israel, of course, as I explained, was like, there were articles written about them. How could you do this? So they were very political. They decided we'll use this to be political. They went on stage with Israeli and Syrian flags in order to say there's peace, we believe in peace. We're using this platform to say something important. We can't sing, we can't dance, we'll make a political statement. So that was my experience, and here I probably tried to fix it, because this group of people who don't know how to sing and dance are going to win, or almost win the Eurovision. So that was, yeah. So.
And the film has already been shown in Israel, am I right, Eytan?
Yeah.
And how has it been received there?
Nicely. It was a nice success. We don't have a lot of fun films. We're not a fun country. So,
well, it certainly doesn't. It certainly looks like fun when we watch Cupcakes. So
no, it's not true. I'm being funny. Israel has wonderful sides, problematic sides, difficult sides that I don't like. But then again, wonderful sides when it comes to maybe Tel Aviv and modern life. There's really this need of young people in Israel to change, to say we can enjoy life as well, not only fight and be in wars and so on and so on. So that is the fun part of Israel. And I was trying to bring that to audiences in Israel, abroad if possible.
Eytan, I'm going to come back to you, but I just want to bring Niamh and Paul for a second. And I always wanted to ask you one question, because I went to Eurovision once to see it live in Belgrade, and it was the most fun weekend I have probably ever had in my entire life, and I wasn't performing. Probably that's why it was so fun, because I didn't have to work. But how fun is it? Because it looks like a blast.
Well, I have technically been to 3 Eurovisions now. The first one in Mill Street, I know, but I was at yours, which was much more fun, to be honest, because I didn't have to sing at the end of it. Eurovision, I just want to say one very quick thing. This film might have been made in Israeli, but actually this could be a film from any country. And that's something that I really loved about it, because the theme is the same thing. You know, the reality of Eurovision is it is about the real world, and social change and all of that sort of thing is part of it, because it does reflect what's happening in the world, regardless of whether we like to admit that or not. But I absolutely love the film. I have to say that first of all. Myself and Grode were laughing our heads off up there. We're loving it. But actually, the thing about Eurovision is it is absolutely huge fun. And you start off, certainly the first time I went, and the second year in particular, you go there and you live in this world that is Eurovision. And what happens is, by the end of the time, when you've gone to all the parties, because there's a lot of parties, you want everyone else to win, and it's all very universal. You know everybody else who's in it. It's an incredibly unifying thing. No matter what's happening, you kind of just wander around in this loveliness of life, and it's very enthusiastic, and there's all these kind of problems and dramas going on, but it's wonderful. And I'm pretty sure a couple of the people who sang with me were involved in shall we say, upping the vote in the international area and getting to know other delegations very well. So there was a lot of that going on. Listen, let me tell you, it's just the most fantastic experience. And I often come across people who say that the Eurovision is a place where, you know, how can you do it and all that. But I have been absolutely deliriously happy to be involved both times, because it is an experience that someone should have at least once in their lives.
At least once.
Yes, or 3 if you get a chance.
Yeah.
Paul?
Are we on the air? Yes, we are. Can I just say something first of all? Congratulations on an amazing movie, and I know everybody's going to congratulate you all the time because it is fantastic. You referenced James Joyce, Johnny Logan, and the Eurovision. An interesting trio. As it happens, the Trinity, of course. As it happens, James Joyce wanted to be a singer. He did, as opposed to a writer. This is what he always wanted to do. Believe it or believe it not. But the interesting thing, I was thinking about the fact that James Joyce and people like you, and that is storytellers, are so important in this world. And people who will take a story like this. And as you say, to show, I was sitting with the ambassador and both of us laughing heartily, him in Hebrew, me in English, and it sounded exactly the same. We both spoke the same language, which was fantastic. And so congratulations again on telling the story beautifully. No stone was left unturned. And as I said to Niamh, I said, I know my Eurovision and perhaps Win and Niamh's Eurovision was everything like this and nothing like this at the same time. So I can't even remember if I was asked a question, by the way. Was I?
Yes.
No, I'm just carrying.
How fun was it?
How fun was it indeed? It was. Well, as Niamh said, I managed to sneak into a second Eurovision, and that was the year Dana International won in Birmingham. Apart from the fact that I remember witnessing a very well-known Irish broadcaster kissing Dana International.
Hello.
And he wasn't that pleased when I walked in on them. Anyway, but I'm not, that's all I'm going to say for that. It is a real story. I'll tell you privately later on. But however, I was a backing singer with a girl called Dawn Martin, and as Niamh said, I had an amazing time because we were, we were there a bit like our French presenter. We were there being paid and to have fun, and there was no pressure on us. But the year that I was involved in 1994 was probably one of the most amazing times. And again, chatting with my wife Carol there, we were just saying that the Eurovision has this amazing ability to just distort everything for that period of time, and it's almost like this focus. It's so intense, this laser beam that's so finely tuned and focused. and everything is being worked towards this particular night, and the camaraderie is incredible, the rivalry is incredible. I remember when Niamh Kavanagh went back in to represent Ireland for Eurovision back in 2000 and what year was it?
10, darling?
As recent as that, you see. I'm an old veteran at this stage, but and I remember, you know, at the time thinking, my God, Niamh Kavanagh is glutton for punishment, going back for more. But as soon as I started to see her appearing in the paper and on magazine covers and then on TV shows, then I turned into that lady Dana, who was kind of starting to envy everybody, kind of having all this fun. You know, it is such a fun time because watching Niamh going through it for a second time, I recalled the whole experience, which was outstanding, I have to say, and a great personal experience.
Yeah.
And I'll say it again. Was I asked a question that time?
Yeah.
It doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter. You said everything you need to say. I just wanted to make a point. It doesn't matter if you win or lose because I've done both, and I'll tell you, it's still the most amazing experience you'll have.
I think that's why we watch it as well, because it's that little moment every year that you can forget about everything and have fun. Could you tell me a little bit about the casting process and the cast and the group of people, because we wouldn't know them probably here, and some of them are very popular actors in Israel. So if you could just tell us a little bit about who they are and how you came to choose them.
I'll steal your mic. It's
Yes.
a better mic. Yeah, right. Good. Well, this is a group of actors who are actually each one of them a star in its field. They're very different. Like Yael Balzor, the beautiful blonde girl, the story is kind of based on what she went through in Israel. She was a model, and Israel really saw her growing up from being a model of bikinis and swimsuits, and to being a more serious actress, to being a performer, which is more appreciated, and not the woman who they sing the song to is a really serious theater actor who usually does Shakespeare and whatever in the National Theater, and here was being a little different. Edouard Baird, who is a very big star in France, he's not as well known outside of France because he does these comedies that are very successful in France, but not so much outside of France. So he came along to be the presenter of the Eurovision. I'm just going to explain that we couldn't do Eurovision. We had to do this Universong thing. Because I thought, I called the EBU and I said, we're making this film, are you going to support us? I said, not only are we not going to support you, you cannot use Eurovision because we've sold the rights and the name and the format to this very big British company called Working Title. They do all the big romantic comedies, you know, and they want to do this big spoof about Eurovision. They brought Sacha Baron Cohen in, they're going to do a crazy spoof about Eurovision. So I said, okay, we lawyers, we came back and forth. I reached their agents in Hollywood who said they'll never make such a film because they were bought by Universal. They have to make giant American films. They can't make this film about Eurovision and whatever. But they were greedy and said, no, we can't give you rights. So we had to make up. We had your songs. We were starting to send. We were looking for rights for the real Eurovision songs, but then we had to change it. I'm not so sad about changing it because that gave me an opportunity to use a lot of other nice European pop songs from the 70s. And so it was.
The soundtrack was great too.
Yeah, and I have to say, I have to say, just it doesn't really matter that it says Eurovision or not. It really this film is about what happens to people in the process. And regardless of whether they say Eurovision, actually it's nearly better it doesn't in some ways, because it kind of, separates it from that and allows you to believe in what's at the story of and the journey that they're taking, as opposed to what Eurovision is.
Well, it's interesting. It doesn't matter what you call it. That movie makes you want to enter it. That's for sure.
Yeah, that's for sure.
If you want to go in, put a song in immediately.
You going in again?
Absolutely. Into this one. You and me both.
I got you.
Now, because I don't want to just asking questions. So perhaps there is a question in the audience, and somebody that would like to ask Niamh, Paul, or Eytan a question.
Yeah.
And I think we'll be able to hear you. So.
Yeah, I just wanted to ask about the Dana factor, if you like. It was interesting, and I'm wondering between we had an Irish Dana, we had an Israeli Dana. Just wondering was there, and the other thing I just want to mention there about copyright not being able to use the name, but yet the song you actually played our Dana's song. So was there any issue around copyright there?
Yeah, there was. So we said if we do use Eurovision songs in this context, will that be a reason to sue us, because we're doing Universal Song, but we're using some Eurovision songs. So we were talking to our lawyers, and somehow we kind of worked it out and said this will somehow be okay. It's a small Israeli film; they shouldn't be bad with us. But we used Dana, your Dana, in order to make a point about you can be a singer and then
go into politics.
Yeah, and then go into politics, which was what this girl was struggling with. Having both, having fun and singing and being an artist, but then again doing other stuff, and you can live a life which can include James Joyce and Johnny Logan, or
That's right.
you could do that. That doesn't have to. Sometimes people think in art or in Israel, especially, that you have to be or very serious or like foolish. It's a dichotomy. There's no way of getting these things together. So that was part of the point we were trying to make. And as we talked about Dana International, that was on the one hand this kind of dance pop tune, and on the other hand she was making a statement, which was an important statement, I think, especially for us. Yeah.
There was another question somewhere there. Yeah.
Eytan, what are you working on now, if I may ask?
What's
next?
You saw this, there was a point where they're arguing about the fact that they were manipulated into singing or being a different kind of group that they didn't want to be. And Ofer shows them a clip from a singer called Mike Brandt, who was a very big singer in France and in other places in Europe.
Yeah, poster on the wall, wasn't it?
Yeah, also a poster on the wall. And he also sings when they're in the carousel.
When they're all in the carousel.
Yeah, and so I'm making a big biopic about him, and it's an Israeli-French co-production. And it's a very interesting story because he came from a very difficult Holocaust survivor family. He was born on the way from Europe. His mother was in Auschwitz, and he all the way from and he was born on the way to Israel. He grew up in a very disturbed family, very poor. He didn't speak to the age of 5, and then he becomes this wonderful singer. Didn't speak to the age of 5, and then he's not accepted in Israel because he wants to sing Elvis Presley and other songs, and they want him to sing real nationalistic Israeli songs. So he leaves Israel and becomes this giant star in France. But as he grows, as he becomes more and more successful, like inside of him, the whole, like his past and difficult other stuff that's going on, he becomes more and more depressed, and then at the age of 27 kills himself in France. And it's a very interesting story. It has all these amazing songs that I like a lot, and then again a very difficult story. So that's what I'm working on. Okay. Yeah.
Did you also write the script?
I actually, I do. I'm always involved in writing my scripts. I usually bring in someone to help me because writing is a very lonely process. So I like to do it with another person. Writing music, it could be very lonely, and you want other people to collaborate with. So I do bring in my co-writer here. When he heard that Paul and Niamh were coming, he's the biggest Eurovision, crazy Eurovision fan. Like, he's crazy. He said, "What? What are you talking about?" And was giving me all the information. He knew exactly what Eurovision. So that's my partner here. He couldn't come because he just had a daughter, so a baby girl. So but he was very excited.
Calling her Dana, I presume.
He could do that.
That'd be neat.
Neat.
You mentioned your previous movies, and some of you might remember a little movie called Yossi and Yeager, which was very, very, very popular, which is completely different to Cupcakes. And your previous movies were very different, and as you said, very serious, and maybe even a little bit more political than Cupcakes. Why the change of heart? Why did you decide to go a little bit more
happy?
Yes, colorful, happy, and music, song, and dance.
Again, it's not either or, I think. We have inside us sides that are so happy and fun and colorful, and we have more complicated and difficult sides. And if you allow yourself, you can express both sides. And in every film I made up to now, I did have this musical number. Even in the most serious films, you do have suddenly people bursting out singing. So I actually, I do have a lot of music in my films. I actually used all kinds of everything in a film I made 15 years ago. So it's just that I wanted to make a happier film after making so many serious films.
What are your hopes, Niamh, for Eurovision 2014 in Ireland? Can we twist your arm?
Oh no!
Third time lucky?
Oh well, that's not really the way it's.
I'll be in Montrose tomorrow morning, so I can.
Is that right?
I can knock on that door.
Well, obviously Paul has put his gauntlet out. So.
Yes. Did I? Oh, I'm sorry. Was I
Are you busy around May? Is it April, May? May, I think it's.
I haven't heard who the mentors are, so.
No, well, we don't know who the mentors are.
As soon as their names are released, we'll start knocking on their doors.
Their names are out there. I'm nearly sure. I think I saw them written down somewhere. I don't know. But to be honest with you, it's a slightly different system now. To be honest, I'm with you. I remember the time, when I loved the conductors, I loved the whole orchestra. And I will say this about 2010, I loved it and I'm very proud of it. But I did miss the orchestra. I can't say any different. I just loved the whole thing about it when we got up in front of the orchestra. So to me, it demanded more of your song when you had to have an orchestra play it. So it meant that the song had to be different. I won't say better because there's been a lot of great songs in the Eurovision since, and it would be wrong to say that there hasn't. And I will say this: the last few years, the Eurovision in general has improved greatly in regards to variety. For quite a few years in the noughties, for me, it got a little bit samey. It was either a fast song or a slow song. But then it really progressed fantastic the last few years. What would I like to see for Ireland? I'd like to see people stepping up to the plate, I say this every year, and really understanding the gift that it can be. And the fact that you get to sing in front of 350 million people is not to be sniffed at, whether you get the full points or whether you don't. The main point is you've got to get up there and be proud of what you do and do your best job. And really, it doesn't make any difference in the end.
To quote Niamh Kavanagh, in fact, you always say that Eurovision is the gift that keeps on giving.
Keeps on giving.
And it really does, year after year after year after year after year.
What's another year?
That's another year's, right?
I think unfortunately we're running out of time, but may I once again thank Eytan for a great song and a lovely evening. Niamh, Paul, thank you so much. And thank you for coming, and I hope you enjoyed the movie. Thank you so much.